Hello and welcome to the very first episode of a Knit by Day podcast. My name is Deja. You can find me on Instagram at Knit by Day. Yeah, at Knit by Day. You can find me on Ravelry at Days Jam, I believe. So that is Days, Days Jam, Days Jam. I have a lot to share with you guys, mostly because all of my finished objects are things that you have never seen before because I've never filmed them before. So I have, I believe, about 4 or 5 finished objects I'm going to share. I have 2 work in progresses, and then I have plans that I will discuss with you and hopefully get some input from you. Let's start, obviously, with what I'm wearing. This is the Pouf Cardigan by Hedgehog Fibers, and it is knit almost entirely out of Hedgehog Fibers. And I believe the only colorway that isn't her yarn is right here. That is a homespun house, and it was one of her club colorways. They did it for the Overdose Awareness Month, which is October. So that is the only little bit that isn't Hedgehog's yarn. I absolutely love this knit. I probably gravitate towards it the most in my closet when it's winter because it goes with a lot of different things, at least a lot of my things, because I tend to wear mostly black and this goes great. Next up on our finished objects, I have this little beanie, which is actually one of my own designs. It is a gorgeous little honeycomb pattern done out of bulky weight yarn. This was Knit Picks, I believe, Bravo, which means it's super cheap, but honestly still squishy and woolly and perfect, I think, for fall. This design is currently with my testers. Several of them have finished already, but I'm still holding out for a couple more to finish up. And their deadline for that is October 15th. So this is one that will actually go out fairly soon. I'm thinking around October 20th is when I'll release it. But if you are really interested in knitting this, then I suggest you follow my Instagram because that's where you'll get the most updates on when this is actually going to be released. Really quick on that one, I'm just going to toss things aside. Next up, I said that the Le Pouf was the garment that I gravitated towards the most. This one's probably second on the list, and it's definitely number 1 when it comes to my summer knits. This is the Summer Sorrel. It is knit up. It looks gigantic when you pull it like that, but it is kind of a boat neck, I believe that's what that would be. It has this gorgeous detailing in the front, short sleeve, fingering weight yarn. Like I said, in the summer, this is the thing I'm going in my closet for the most. It is knit out of Hello Stella in the colorway Prism, which is a phenomenal colorway. I knew the second she had kind of done a sneak peek on her Instagram that I needed to buy it as soon as it came out. And I swear I sat obsessively watching her Instagram until she finally had a release. And when it was time for the release, I hopped on her website and just started refreshing until it was finally time and she put up all the new colorways. So I snatched Prism quick. I believe I bought 2 skeins of this, and I think that's what it took to knit this. I know that I do have a little bit left, but I honestly wish that I had gotten 3 or 4 skeins of it because it is so gorgeous and so squishy. And I think this is really the sweater that I get the most compliments on, and it's definitely partly due to the design, which is gorgeous. But I think the thing that catches people's eyes first and foremost is definitely the colors. So let me give you a closer look. It's got so much going on. So it has obviously the gorgeous pink. That's probably the thing you see the most. But if you get a little bit closer, there's neons, some yellow, orange, blue, green, all kinds of gorgeousness. I absolutely love this color. Moving through fairly quickly, the next thing I have on my list is my Navelli Tee. I have dog hair in my mouth. Next thing I have on my list is my Navelli Tee. This is patterned by Caitlin Hunter. It's another really cool, I wouldn't say summer knit because it is out of DK weight yarn, but it's short sleeve. So it's nice for spring, fall when you can kind of catch a breeze. But you don't want to be too hot throughout the day. I love this pattern. It's another one that non-knitters or people who have not done color work get super impressed with. Honestly, if you've done color work, if you have an inkling of an idea of what you're doing, it's not a hard pattern to do, but it does look really, really impressive. I had so much fun making this. And the really cool piece about this color work is it's only on a small segment of the sweater. So most of the sweater kind of flies off the needles. And I think, if I remember correctly, I think it's knit bottom up. So you kind of get that taste for color work and you get to kind of dive into color work for a minute. And then by the time you're done with the color work, you're honestly sick of it and you'd rather just have something fly off the needles. And obviously just working stockinette in the round will do that. I knit this out of Quince Co, and it was their Chickpea base, which is their DK base, but I don't remember what the colorways are, sorry. All right, 2 more finished objects for you. So this one is, many of you will probably recognize it. This is the Ripple crop top. The Ripple crop top by Jessie Mae Designs. It is my second rendition of it. The first I knit straight to the pattern, which is obviously a crop top, and it shows a lot of my midriff, which I don't mind at all, but I did want to knit this one in with kind of like work and more professional settings in mind, so I did lengthen it, and it works really great. I think it hits me about at the hip, and so I'm able to wear it with kind of a multitude of different things, which is really great, and it's super flowy, so it's so comfortable as you're wearing it. It is knit out of Malabrigo in one of their fingering weight bases. I know that I knit this, so I don't know the technical names of them, but I know Malabrigo has a single ply fingering weight yarn. This is not their single ply. This is probably 2-ply yarn. But it is their brick colorway, and I think it took about a skein and a half to knit this, the long version. And I think I knit the medium size, perhaps. Okay. I'm gonna do a quick wardrobe change because this is another cardigan that I can actually show off on. I promised myself before I filmed this that I would weave in the ends. Guess what I didn't do? Weave in the ends. I tend to procrastinate that to the last second. Honestly, there are times where I am wanting to wear garments to work or wherever else, and I will actually weave in the ends that morning before I put it on because it is, I don't know, it's the easiest thing in the world. It's honestly kind of meditative, and I just cannot get myself to do it before I absolutely have to. So, is what it is. This is the Like a Cloud cardigan by Joji Locatelli. It was my first Joji pattern, and I seriously loved this pattern. Number one, because I knit it with sock yarn held together with Suri alpaca, which is a luxurious yarn. So that made it super enjoyable. But also, he knit this in a way that was really, he designed this in a way that was really interesting to me. The whole thing is knit as one piece. I don't want to give too much away about her pattern, but the whole thing is one piece except for the sleeves. And it kept me interested kind of throughout because I really didn't know where she was going with it. Kind of give you a quick stand maybe and show you how it fits. So it is pretty oversized, and I'm imagining because I haven't blocked it, it will get even more oversized, which is kind of what I was going for. I wanted for a cardigan that I could more or less just wear around the house and be cozy in. So I'm okay with it being a little oversized. I might knit one a size smaller next time so that I can get a more fitted look, but I'm not entirely sure. We'll see. I did one modification, so she kind of had the sleeves fitted throughout, and I made more of a choice to not decrease and to just decrease very rapidly at the cuff. I tend to like my sleeves like that, and I actually found out how much I liked that when I knit the Le Pouf. So this is kind of my version of the Le Pouf sleeves. Really like it like that. It's super comfy. Came very close to forgetting to mention that this is out of Traveling Yarn. It is in her 757 sock base and her Suri Alpaca, which I already mentioned is absolutely scrumptious. I have several sweaters with this exact combination in different colorways, and I truly cannot recommend it enough. I keep buying it. I keep telling myself I'm going to support other dyers and support other businesses, but I keep going back to her because, I mean, truly, this is quality yarn, and her colorways are phenomenal. This is her Nightfall colorway, and it is this gorgeous, I'm sure you can already see, stormy blue-gray. It's popping up a little bit more gray than blue on screen, but it definitely has this gorgeous blue pigment to it as well. I might need to change again because it is getting so toasty. I finally understand what other podcasters are talking about when they're talking about how hot it is in their wool, especially with the wardrobe change. So let me hop out, pop back in. Well, now you get to see the ripple bralette ripple crop top in action, my non-crop top version. Next up, we have my 2 works in progress, which is such a difference for me. Usually I have about 5 or 6 on the go. But what happened is, you know, while we're in the midst of this pandemic and when we first went on quarantine, all I wanted to do was knit. It's what I would do pretty much anytime I had a chance where my hands were idle. And I burnt myself out on knitting, and that has never happened to me. It was honestly, it was really strange for me. What actually got me back into the groove of knitting is what I'm about to talk about. I saw on my Instagram that Hello Stella was having a Penguono along, and I thought, well, one, I have a ton of scraps and stash yarn, so that would be a cool way to kind of stash bust a little bit. So I thought I would just cast on and see what happens, and it really reinvigorated my want to create, my desire to knit, and it was just great. So let's pull her out. When I originally went to go cast on for this cowl, I thought I was going to do all neutrals, and I was really excited about that. But I don't know, I just kind of got a craving for color and went with it, and kind of went a little bit random with my color selection, which is abnormal for me because I am a bit of a control freak. But yeah, I grabbed random colors and kind of tried to make it symmetrical so that I could have control over something because that's how I am. But here she is. I have woven in 0 ends. I've already told y'all I don't weave in ends right away or even as I go. So it's a little bit of a mess, but that's okay. Show you the back. Really hoping you can see this well. I'm trying to kind of peer through the knitting and make sure I'm getting it on camera. But guys, these welts were so much fun to make. They were way more fun than I even thought they would be. That's kind of, I think that's the beauty in Stephen West. I don't even know if I mentioned this was a Stephen West pattern, but I'm sure many of you know. The beauty with Stephen West's patterns is that he is one to incorporate a ton of new, unique techniques into his knitting and kind of teach you new things, but also you kind of never know what you're going to get. And I think that's the piece of this that really reinvigorated me is the not knowing and kind of just diving in, being totally unsure of what I was doing or what was coming next. He has you pick up stitches all over the place and knit in a million different directions. And again, that's why I love Stephen. He's really great for that. So you can see I have finished my first sleeve, and I am really a couple of rows away from finishing my second. And I believe, honestly, don't know what's next because like I said, it's Stephen. I think the only thing I have left after that is to do the underarms and the border. So this is getting really close to being done, and I am so excited to block it and try it on. I did a much, much, much smaller version than what you would normally do. I think the Penguono is really meant to be worn with a lot of positive ease, but I kind of tried to get it into a more fitted look. As you can see, I'm using 1.5 size needles. I think these are 1.5. US 1.5. They're not written anywhere. I'm using my Chiagos. These are normally what I would use to knit a sock. So hopefully that gives me the size and the look that I'm going for. I'm really hoping that it's not too small because I don't know what I'm going to do with it otherwise. We'll have to see. I have been trying it on a little bit as I go, and it feels like it's going to be okay, especially after blocking. But again, we'll have to see. My second work in progress is a more long-term work in progress for me. It is my Habitation Throw, and it is knit entirely out of a homespun house. So I'll give you a quick glance. So my Habitation Throw by Helen Stewart. Like I said, it is out of entirely a homespun house. I am one of Molly's Patreons. One of the benefits of being a top tier Patreon with Molly is that every month she sends you 3 mini skeins, which if you're as big of a fan of a homespun house as I am, that is far worth it. I mean, even if I didn't get extra content out of it, I would probably go with that. But so this is entirely out of my Patreon minis. And I've now gotten to the point where I have caught up to Molly and knit all of my minis into this. So I am patiently awaiting the postman every month so that I can run to the mailbox, get my minis, run back, wind them up, and start knitting them into my blanket. And it's honestly made this even more fun. Even more exciting every month to get my minis. It's been really, really cool. The other thing about that is it makes this totally random. So you can go from moody colors to super bright, back to bright, and I really don't know what's going to come next. Like I said when I was discussing my Penguono, I'm a bit of a control freak when it comes to colors and design. So I'm honestly shocked with how much I'm enjoying this, but I really couldn't care less what's next. The next thing is anticipated works. So anticipated projects. So I bought these 2 skeins from Long Dog Yarn. It is her Merino DK in the colorway Rum Runner. And when I bought this yarn, I had no idea what I was going to make out of it. And I still don't know. So I think that I'll have enough. I'll probably be cutting it a little bit close, but I think that I will have enough to knit a sweater out of this. I would love a sweater in this color. I'm just not exactly sure what sweater I would like yet. Some of the options that I have that I've thought about are the Flax Sweater by Tin Can Knits and then the Cozy Classic Raglan by Jessie Mae. Honestly, I think either one would be gorgeous, but if you guys have any ideas of what I could make with this colorway, what you think would look good, definitely drop it in the comments below. I'm curious to see what other people think. The last thing I want to mention before I hop off here is that because this is the very first episode of this podcast, I thought it would be really cool to do a giveaway. I have 2 skeins of traveling yarn, which is what my Like a Cloud cardigan's made out of, and that is absolutely scrumptious. Right here I have her 757 sock in Hardcore Peach. And then I have the complimentary Suri Alpaca skein in also Hardcore Peach. Knit together, these 2 are luxurious. I mean, truly. I think you can make a lovely hat out of this. Could even potentially make a birds of a feather shawl. I think you might have enough to do that. Maybe. Yeah, could make a gorgeous, gorgeous shawl or hat or really whatever you wanted to do with it. So the way to enter this giveaway is going to be to leave me a comment below. It can be absolutely anything you want it to be. So you can tell me what you're currently knitting on. You can tell me what you think I should knit on next. I mean, truly anything. That will count as 1 entry. And then if you were looking to get some additional entries, what you could do is go to my Instagram at Knit by Day and share the post about this YouTube video. So you can share it on your story. I think that's the only way that Instagram will allow you to share it. So share it on your story and I'll give you 5 additional entries. That is all I have for our first episode together. I would love to do like a blather segment or like a life update, but you guys really, I mean, some of you may be coming from Instagram, so you do know me, but I don't think many of you will know me. And so it's kind of hard to tell you what's going on in my life if you don't know anything about my life. So I think what I will do for the next episode is have a Q&A discussion, and that way you guys can kind of get to know me a little bit better. So if you want to participate in that, I will post probably a story on my Instagram sometime in the next week or so. So be sure to follow me there and look out for that. I'm going to make an attempt to make this a weekly thing and just kind of see how that goes for the next couple of weeks. So hope to see you guys next week.